In 2019, we took 3 months out to go sailing. This was the opportunity of a lifetime. Join us on our trip sailing the west coast of Scotland, the Hebrides and the Orkney Islands. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Maybe hit that bell button to be notified of new videos. It was a very calm day getting to Canna, but I remember it being forecast to be quite windy, wasn't it? Now normally we might think, well, we don't want to get stormbound somewhere, but we had as much time as we needed. We're only on day 2 of a 3-month holiday, and he just said, well, Canna's a really good, safe place to be. I mean, apart from else, we were on a mooring, but even if you had to anchor there, it was it's a very good shelter place. And we didn't have to worry about getting back at all. So we thought, what a great opportunity to explore Canna, which we've kind of done before, but we've never really done the coastal route, had we, the coastal paths?
Yeah, even though we've been there quite a lot, I think we've hardly scratched the surface of what you could do at Canna.
No, it's quite a reasonably big island.
I'd happily go back and spend quite a bit of time there.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting architecture, you know, like churches, all sorts of different denominations of churches, unique styles.
They're quite unusual, aren't they? I love the one with the sort of conical tower.
I think that's like a Protestant or whatever the equivalent is around here, isn't it? And then there's a Catholic one on Sunday, which I still haven't managed to actually visit yet. And then there's a little weird castle-y thing on a hill.
I really like that bit. I think it's really pretty.
Allegedly, that's where somebody imprisoned their wife who has been a bit unfaithful. But I don't know how true that is. It's probably some sort of myth. But it's a weird little castle on a massive rocky outcrop.
I'm not even sure it's really a castle. It's kind of like it's more of the stone equivalent of a shed on a rock.
Yeah, it's like stone shed on a rock. Yeah. Doesn't sound quite as romantic as a castle.
It's really pretty, but it's tiny.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's really lovely, and lovely views from there over towards Rum as well.
Yeah, we went for a walk around there with the aim of getting a bit of height above that and doing the cliff walk, which we've not actually done before, round to, I guess, the north side of Canna, and there's some quite high cliffs there. You don't, from the normal side, it's all very pastoral and lots of fields and quite fertile looking, but those cliffs are quite tall.
It felt quite dramatic, particularly as it was a really windy day.
It was very. I mean, it was on the edges of the cliffs. It was quite difficult to keep your footing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quite difficult to keep your camera still. I remember that.
Yeah. I tried to take some shots down towards the boat in the harbour, and it was difficult to keep the camera still. But
it was absolutely stunning.
And yeah, we got great views across to Rum and obviously across to Skye. I think, could we see the Outer Hebrides? We should have been able to.
Yeah.
And then we carried on around the coast and happened across sea arches, caves.
That was lovely. And I remember the really steep slopes down at the bottom of the cliffs. They were all covered with primroses. So even though it was kind of really precipitous, there were these beautiful little flowers kind of clinging on.
And then we turned a corner and suddenly there was a white-tailed sea eagle below us.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Soaring below us on the cliffs. And then there's all these tourist boats coming around, looking up at them, trying to find them, and then we were virtually on top of their nest, weren't we? And that was quite magical. So we stopped there for a while. and then it carried on around the cliffs towards what is allegedly a Viking burial or a Viking ship burial.
I must admit, looking down at the bit where there's supposed to be this Viking ship burial, you did wonder whether you were looking at the right collection of bits of stones.
It wasn't massively obvious, but it was a stunning bit of coastline anyway.
Yeah, it was fun trying to work out which bit was supposed to be a Viking ship burial, but I think it's one of those where it would help to have an expert archaeologist with you.
And then we made our way to a souterrain.
Oh, that was awesome. So, look for a south-facing slope, the home of many rabbits, close to the wall. Check. Here you can see 2 souterrains. These are Bronze Age subterranean earth houses, perhaps used for storage or shelter. The entrance in both has a stone lintel, you can just wriggle inside. It's been lovely knowing you. Bye. It goes back about 8 foot from where I am, and there's like a stone, big flat stone on top of 2 pillars of stone. There's like an entranceway, and there's some other fallen big slabs as well. I'm just going to take a picture. We're in a souterrain on Canna. It's one of those surreal days where things keep happening, like golden eagles jumping out on us and souterrains turning up. Yeah, is that doing any good?
Yeah, it's doing a bit of good.
It looks like that would have been another roof slab, and that beyond, but there's been a bit of falling.
Do you think it would have been independent of the other souterrain, or would it be linked?
I don't know.
You turned into a rabbit.
Oh, that was fun.
Do you need a hand out?
No, I think it'll be alright. Oh. Wow, that was great.
Nearby some sort of Bronze Age villages as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was lovely.
It was a great day out on Canna.
Yeah, well, we came back after we'd done the souterrains. We came back via Tarbert and then along the south coast, and then we found that we'd got 2 beautiful classic boats. The Ada Frenson and the Bessie Ellen had anchored right next to us.
Yeah, because a long time ago we actually sailed on the Ada Frenson, and we're back in the 90s, I guess it was. And it was always nice to see that boat, because we have very fond memories really of sailing aboard that. It's really the first time we'd sailed a large boat in these seas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
Yeah, and the Bessie Ellen's a beautiful boat too.
very relaxed there with your brew and your breakfast.
I have to say, this is the way to travel in the Hebrides. This is downwind sailing at its best. I don't know if it'll get rolly later on, but at the moment it's not too bad. But yeah, behind your wheelhouse, bombing along at a steady 5 knots with one sail up. This will do. Next stop, Outer Hebrides. We're setting off from Canna and we're going to the Outer Hebrides. So.
Excellent. Where are we going to go?
Well, that's the question really. At the moment, we're heading nominally for what I call Polnagan, but it's actually Polnagal, I presume, or Haunaray Sound, that kind of area.
North
Uist, basically. Yeah, heading nominally to North Uist, and we went there. We've been there twice now. Last time we had time to explore by kayak and by walking up the Eval, Dr. Evil's mountain. So yeah, what would we do if we went back to the same place, or would we push on to Loch Maddie and then on to Harris?
I really like Polnagal and North Uist. We've only been there twice, and there's just such an amazing array of little anchorages and rocks, and great for kayaking, and love to walk up Eval again. Yeah, because last time it was really misty and you couldn't really get the views that I think you'd get right down over that sort of patchwork of little sea locks and islands. I think that could be really spectacular. But the other option is, well, we should push on because we can just about get to Polnagal within our cruising range of a normal holiday, and this is a special holiday, so maybe we should push on into the bits we can't usually get to. So we're heading for North Uist to Haunaray Sound and anchoring in Polnagal. But what are our secondary ports?
Well, if we find that the downwind sailing gets just too rolling, we can't be doing with it, or the wind shifts in the wrong direction, we've got an option of bearing to port and going down to South Uist, to Loch Skipport.
That'd be nice.
Where there's some excellent anchorage that's pretty much safe in most directions, one way or the other you'll find somewhere in Loch Skipport. And there's plenty to do there. There's lots of things that I want to do there.
Well, that's only 5 miles shorter. Have we got any other bailout options if this roly swell were to build and get too much for us?
What, from here?
Yeah.
We'll go back where we came, or we can head over to Skye.
What's over on Skye?
Well, we've got a lot of brittle, but I don't think there's anything in there much to talk about. Loch Aenor, again, not too safe. We could follow that lovely bowman, I think are heading for Loch Bracadale, which leads into Loch Harport, where the Talister distillery is. And I think there's various lochs in there that give you different shelter, and probably Loch Harport.
Is that where Talisker is?
Yes, it's Loch Harport is where Talisker is.
They've got visitor buoys.
Yeah, it says here they've got a pier as well. But,
luxury.
I think that's just for going alongside with puffers. But yeah, I suspect it'll just be a question of whether we can handle this rolly downwind sailing.
I think we can handle it.
Well, we'll see.
But then the wind dropped and we ended up motor sailing. But yeah, we ended up then heading into Haunaray Sound, and it's right underneath the hill, or what's it? Is it called Eval? Yeah. On North Uist, and we dropped the anchor there, and yeah, I remember it was stunning because you got all those little islands in amongst the lochs, and it's more loch than island, isn't it?
It is. It's the whole of the Uist really, but and Benbeca there. It's more water than it is land.
And I would have loved to stay longer because we walked up Eval last time we were there, and I loved it. But it was a bit misty when there, so I was really tempted to stay and walk up Eval again. But to be honest, you know, we thought, well, actually, this is somewhere we can get to on a normal 2-week holiday.
Yeah, it'd be kind of towards the edge of where we might be able to get, but we've been there before. I think we were quite keen to move on. But what I do remember is that evening we were in our cockpit watching the late evening sun and relaxing, and we saw a deer appear on the foreshore, which is not particularly unusual. There we've seen a lot of deer.
I remember, yeah.
And you could tell it was tentatively looking at the shore, and we're thinking, what's it up to? And it was basically it was building up the confidence to swim out to one of the islands, because there's, like I said, there's more islands in North Uist than there is anything else, isn't it? It's just locks and islands, and it had seen some nice grass presumably on one of these little tiny islands, and sure enough we managed to catch it on film.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Hopefully at this moment you'll be able to see the video. Cue video.
I think I probably looked like that before I decided to jump in the water.
It's going for it.
She's going. She's going. Or is she just walking out along the rocks?
No, she's in the water.
Is she?
Oh, yeah, splash splash.
Come on.
She's walking
No, she's climbed out onto another rock.
Yeah, but she's obviously intending to... Here she goes. Up to her knees.
She climbed out onto another rock.
Yeah, but definitely looking at the nice looking grass on the other side.
Go on. It's lovely and tasty, that grass. Go on, you can do it. Go on. She's thinking about it.
Going, she's going. Yeah. Up to her chest. Yeah, she's swimming.
She's in.
She's swimming for it.